That's okay. I was just kind of curious. Now we're going to start. This is our new piece that we were talking about. It's called Big Deal or No. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions, and you just let me know. If you want me to tell you if it's a big deal or not, you can feel free to ask, but I'm just going to ask you guys. Well, Penguins just took the lead. Oh. This situation with the New York Mets GM, is it a big deal or not a big deal?
What happened in New York?
Oh, yeah. The GM decided to use his unlimited texting plan and sent 62 explicit messages.
62 Brett Favre's, eh?
He browsed Brett Favre someone too.
Yeah, some reporter in New York.
Exactly, Brett Favre somebody.
Yeah,
Oh my God, in the same city and everything. I wonder if it was the 62
same times.
Reporter. 62 times. Do you think? Is it the same picture? How does that happen?
Do you think he puts hats on it?
Did he get any replies? Like, did she say something?
As far as the report goes, and I mean, we're not in the courtroom or anything or whatever. Sure. Like, there was no replies. So there was just a bunch on one side and nothing on the other side of the ledger.
So much penis.
Just straight GM who's sending dick pics. Wow, he must have been on something that night, huh?
I'm going to tell you, I think that all of these pictures were taken in the time right when he traded for Lindor up until he got caught. Like,
he was just hard the whole time.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. He did a massive trade, and then now he gets canned for dick pics. He probably thought he had the key to the city with that trade.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys think it's a big deal or not, but...
Yes, big deal. The Mets are like, I know I'm not deep into baseball, but the Mets are still primed to be a good team in the NL, are they not?
Absolutely. They spent a lot of money. They're in the running for George Springer, and that guy has to decide between a team with no stability in the front office or a team with no home base.
And that is in Toronto?
Oh, okay. And it seems like Toronto's going to start their season in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll call that breaking news. That's about as breaking as the show will get. So we're saying that's a big deal. How about this?
That's a big deal.
Like, how big are we talking? Like,
I don't know.
He knows the answer.
I know that. Yeah, I know that the owner was unimpressed. So I don't know what to tell you.
I can't have a man like that working under me.
Yeah. Speaking of, how about this ugly start by the Oilers? Is it a big deal or no?
Oh, it's going to be tough in that Canadian division if you sink yourself a hole early like they've been doing. That I think it is a big deal. I don't care that we're only 4 games into the season or 3 games into the season. They lost to Montreal twice, right? And Vancouver once. They beat Vancouver one time. And Vancouver, in my opinion, isn't even going to be a very strong team. So in the Canadian division anyway, I think they would have been if it was still the West. But yeah, it's a big deal. If they've got about 5 more games to figure it out. If we see 2-3 losses out of that 5, they're in trouble, real trouble.
I kind of made a joke last week about how like Toronto fans are all losers. When it comes to Edmonton, if it wasn't for the Eskimos, like I don't think they have anything to cheer for in that city. And for everybody, if you don't know what the Eskimos are, that's a CFL football team. They haven't been good since Wayne Gretzky played there.
I'm not sure they're called that anymore. I'm not sure what they are.
I think the Edmonton football team.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, they haven't been good since the 80s. It's always been like this. They had their run in the early 90s, I guess, there with I think it was Ryan Smith and those guys. They had the hot goalie the one year. I can't think of what his name was.
Cujo.
Yeah. Is it when they lost to Carolina you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of that, it was just one of those things like they're playing for a lottery pick every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
those fans are passionate though.
Yeah, I don't even their fan base isn't going to change.
What's hilarious, you got to look at hanging with their friend Sean T, and that guy hard sells that team like they are the best team in the NHL, living on their laurels of the 80s. It's crazy.
Chad knows Big Fudge.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only Buccaneers fan that drives me crazy.
Probably Jameis Winston's mom too. Yeah. So yeah, we're thinking that that's kind of a big deal that you can't really fall behind in that division.
Not with 56 games. If it was a full
Yeah.
season, we were talking that's no. But like 56 games, they're in trouble. Maybe in 5 more games.
This next one probably wouldn't have even made the list except for the fact that we buried these guys last week. The Raptors have won 3 in a row since we buried them last week.
I'm glad I sparked them.
Yeah.
I put a fire underneath them.
Yeah,
I think it is big news.
Yeah.
And that's a big turnaround, right? They're getting their asses kicked and they turn it around. That's good for the organization, gets confidence back. And the last thing they need is to like have people like us just hating on them for no reason.
Right.
I mean, it's nice for the fans, but realistically, they don't have a team that can compete. Nobody has a team in the East that can compete directly against Brooklyn right now. But Toronto doesn't have a team that can compete. Like I said last time we talked about this, they don't have a team that compete against Boston in a 7-game series. I don't think it takes 7 for Boston to beat Toronto in that series. They definitely cannot go up against a team like Philadelphia with their current roster. Too many big men. 6'9" point guard. Like,
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry's going to cover that? Give me a break, right?
Right.
Fred VanVleet, it's not going to happen. It's good for the fans. It's horrible for the organization. They need draft picks. They need to build the team through the draft because clearly the team is not going to be buying free agents with the contracts they've handed out unless they're able to trade a player like Lowry and get something in return. They're going to be handcuffed to these players for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say about the Raptors, they look like they're trying harder, which, I mean, that's always a good thing. But we'll move on to the next one. Kalen, you're exempt from this one. But I don't mind if Liam decides to chime in.
Oh.
AJ Brown posted something saying that he should have been out for the season as of week 2. That's what the doctors told him. He played through it and made the Pro Bowl. Is that a big deal or no?
Kalen's going to get mad at me and he's going to fight me on it. I'm going to say no. Only for the simple reason Julio Jones has been on the injury report since the day he was drafted.
That's true.
And he went to how many Pro Bowls? I'm not saying that his knees weren't messed up, but I think it's a little exaggerated of that him saying he couldn't play. If his knees were that bad, he wouldn't have played. It's that simple.
Liam,
as somebody who just came off of a knee injury for 12 years and just had knee surgery, I'm going to say it's not a big deal.
Okay. Buried. And then we'll save this one for Kalen. This whole Kyrie Irving mess. Do you still think it's a big deal or no?
I think he hasn't played in still 6 games. He's coming back this weekend. It's a big deal. We're got to see how the team is going to mesh as a whole. As a Celtics fan, I have an animosity towards Kyrie that most people probably wouldn't have. I hate how he did my team. I think he's the best ball handler of all time, but he's a giant piece of shit. And I think that he ruins organizations. KD is going to have to play, at this point, granddad, I guess, on that team right now, or play pops against these guys because I think Harden is going to want the ball a lot. KD has learned how to give up the ball, but I just don't think Kyrie. I mean, the guy just runs away from adversity all the time.
So he's a big deal. Yeah, he's still a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of wraps up. We'll move on to the next thing.